And that's, I guess, something that you need to realize, and that's why funding is important and still needs to happen, because a lot of musicians will make something that...
I mean, in current Dutch politics, that concept is also not understood. They only want to translate certain core areas of science. They are like now very successful, but they don't want to fund other parts of science because they're not interesting.
Okay, but let's assume that it's understood.
No, it is not understood.
Yeah, it is not, but let's assume that it is, because we can't really do anything about that.
There's another point.
Oh, sorry, I just
point number 2. There is a lot of very justified criticism against publishing papers, because papers have now become such that they're completely unreadable by anybody other than the people working in academics. They are written in a language that is completely ununderstandable by people who would be able to understand the concept matter if it was put into different words. So what has happened there is that they've developed their own little language and their own little system, which has become warped by we need to produce papers to get money, which makes things inaccessible in a way that it doesn't need to be.
I mean, if you're really interested in that stuff, you should just learn about it and read the language.
Well, there's
I mean,
a
even
certain extent.
between like scientific disciplines, like
Yes.
the way math is used can already be so totally different in terms of notation and whatever. That even if you know like scientific language of one discipline, you can't necessarily read like the language of another.
Is that done on
but
purpose?
the reason for those
It's historical. I guess.
But those reasons for those languages are usually that the meanings of those specific words that are like impronounceable for most people who aren't into the subject, there's a reason why these words developed, which is that the meaning of those words are just slightly different than that other word that almost completely says the same thing, but
It doesn't.
has this little thing different because in that paper there and there and there we refer to that, and that was proved to be false, and so we have to change
In
it, blah,
that
blah,
case,
blah.
that
There's a
would be-
history to it.
Of course, you develop a vocabulary to discuss subjects and thoughts that you couldn't with other vocabulary. But in this case, it's been, and I'll post this on the Facebook page for Sound Links. There's been done clear research where it shows that this has become a tumor that has become.
Of course, but it's a side effect.
Yes,
of something that
there's
is
bullshit
necessary.
papers.
So there's research into a bullshit paper, so they probably wrote papers about bullshit papers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which is what I'll link you to.
Yeah,
but it's become
generated like a paper generator, so that conferences and got accepted.
What? Yes, that kind of stuff. And being unnecessary. And if you think about it, if you think back to writing book reports in high school, you need to get a certain level of words, or a certain number of words, which is an arbitrary restriction to just get you to write. But what you do is you write a bunch of nonsense, and if you don't get enough words, you put extra words in there to make your sentences longer.
I copy-pasted it.
Yeah.
Yes, there too. And that's happening in those higher levels as well. And that is detrimental to scientific research. And that is something that you can fix. So to get back to music, there is of course a reason why you wouldn't want people to just experiment with everything. And sometimes they come up with something, sometimes they do not. But if you keep that unchecked, and there is this loop with subsidy that's very much running in parallel.
So
and you also get bad stuff.
So how would you organize this subsidy thing?
I don't know yet.
In order to have it, to have some output, or I don't know, to have the system work in a more healthy way.
Yeah, but bad stuff
actually
is
do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
but like bad stuff and bad art and that all that jazz is necessary
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but
in like a healthy
absolutely.
in a
Nobody
healthy
has
culture.
bad music or bad art or bad jazz.
No, but
in this case, I'm thinking there might be music that's no longer made with the intent of being good music.
Of
It's
course.
just I'm producing music because I have to produce music because otherwise I don't get the funds from the
Yes.
Yeah, and
that happens, of course, but that's just part of the system. But every system produces that kind of stuff.
I believe that's also a problem with like Lumos Stemra, where you get more of your pieces longer. And actually that's a bullshit system. So you get all these boring 20-minute long pieces or longer.
But
There should be some other way of
But
doing it.
every system you propose will produce that kind of stuff. I mean, if you have funds,
Yeah,
you'll
but I
have
think
that kind of
we're
stuff.
not
If you have Kickstarter, you have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think we're talking about the output. We're talking about the intention of the person that is making it.
Yes.
And the problem is that in this system, there's some people that